Hello, everybody, and welcome to the first episode of Seattle Artist Spotlight. This is the show where I interview a bunch of amazing Seattle musicians and artists. I get their takes on the local industry, the local scene, and I also make a miniature cover of one of their songs. Spence Hood is the first artist we're going to be covering today. He's an amazing singer and multi-instrumentalist, and, well, why don't we just let Spence talk for himself? All right, here we go.
Okay, sure. Not bad.
This is Spence Hood.
Yep.
You know this guy because I already probably gave an intro for him.
I think so.
Like tomorrow, but you guys are going to see it before this.
That's how you edit. Jesus.
Okay. This is the first of... Maybe it's the last.
I hope it's the last.
Seattle Artist Spotlight, or whatever I'm calling it.
Sass.
Oh yeah, I can curse because I'm going to replace it with that Minecraft punchy sound. Watch. Alright, cool.
Nice.
Next. Okay. So we only have 20 minutes approximately to record on Spence's bad boy camera here. So let's get this over with.
Okay. How about let's get rolling? Let's get into it.
So my first question for you, Spence. Your intro. What are you all about? What's your music like?
Oh man.
What's your personality?
Okay, so my music is a tremendously hard question, I think, for any artist to answer. I would say it is, broadly speaking, singer-pop-writer. So it is pop-oriented singer-songwriter stuff. I think a lot of people find jazz and soul kind of stuff in what I do. I kind of grew up listening more to my dad's like Pearl Jam, R.E.M. stuff, and then I found jazz early on. So I wouldn't say I like kind of was born and bred in pop. So yeah.
All right, let's transition to the city that we all know and love.
Sure.
What brought you to Seattle, of all places?
Of all places. Well, funny you say of all places, because I did have a list of like 16 cities that were all the places I was considering going to, and I boiled it down to Seattle. I kind of had a hunch about Seattle in that there was a sweet spot in terms of musical activity and not being oversaturated here. Because I knew, obviously, Seattle, everybody knows Seattle is a huge music town, and it had its huge boom in the 90s and such. But you don't hear a lot of people moving to Seattle for the music necessarily.
Right.
So I kind of had it in the back of my mind, and once I visited and I just saw like how insanely active the local scene is here, and how much of an appetite the locals in Seattle have for like music being made here and like being made in basements and apartments here, I was like, yeah, I think it seemed like in terms of a place to like actually start to learn about the industry and not want to just, keel over and die because I'm living in LA or New York where like there are so many other love those cities.
How would you describe Seattle's music scene right now as it is?
In 2019?
In 2019. What are you satisfied by, dissatisfied by?
Cool. I would say I am super satisfied. Weird way to put it, but I'll go with it.
Satiated. Let's change it to that.
I'm really quenched by the fact that there's a really low barrier to entry in terms of if you want to make music and start playing shows and even like get band members, you are a month away from making that happen if you really want to, right? Because there's so many people who want to play on stages and so many avenues for getting to those stages and apps and forums and community boards to help you, navigate that in the beginning.
That's so true, yeah.
Right? I feel like it's like if you and I decided, and we had never played music before, we decided, okay, I want to learn an instrument and take lessons, and I want to write some songs, and I want to perform them on a stage. Easy.
Yeah.
So easy. Whereas in Denver, for example, even though I think they have the infrastructure for a great kind of DIY music scene, there's just not quite enough care. So like bar owners, for example, haven't made the click in their mind like, oh, we should have live music here like all the time because it's literally benefiting everybody to do that. And there aren't quite enough like venues for guppies that I've really seen in Denver. Definitely not in Palo Alto where I was before here. So in terms of like, if you want to just go And even if you don't really know what direction you're going in, you just want to start doing in the music scene, you can do it so easily in Seattle. Love that.
Yeah, I guess we do kind of take that for granted, having Stoney Cafe.
Yes.
Having, what else? Fremont Abbey.
Denny's.
Denny's?
Yeah. Other places have Denny's too.
Is there something you wish that the Seattle music scene had more of, or didn't have as much of?
I think maybe it's kind of the same answer. Like, because there's such a low barrier to entry, I think a lot of people recognize that you can get up and running really fast, and it doesn't click in their head like you still have to really hustle to get people to your shows. People may pay more attention to you because you're doing your thing here than other places, but people are still going to like good stuff and not like bad stuff. And like, you have to get to a place where your stuff is good enough to be liked by a lot of people. It just boils down to like, no one said the music industry is easy, and no one said that what we were going to be doing would be quick or clear cut. And
no kidding.
Yeah, we are miserable. Next question.
Okay. Where do you see this music scene evolving into, or maybe devolving into, and where do you see yourself fitting into that?
That's a good question, man, because I think a lot about like some of the quirks of the scene here and the people in the scene here, and I ask myself a lot, like, has it been this way for the past 40 years? And like, this is kind of just the way it is in Seattle, and everybody kind of complains about the same stuff, and everybody loves the same places, and so it's hard for me to tell, I guess, what is going to change in 3 to 5 years here.
Oh yeah, and for viewers, how long have you been in Seattle so far?
So I've only been here for 30 years, and I feel like I've seen hardly anything.
Try again.
I've been here for 1.5 years. So I guess where I see myself, I have in the past, even like the past 6 or 7 months, I think I've been more curious about the event planning side of music. And I think that I, partially by circumstance, early on made the decision to host events more than shows. Like, I would much rather throw a pantry party, which was my EP release party, than Spence's EP release party, or like a sock jam, as opposed to like, come see Spence again, he's still playing, you know?
Yeah, the sock jam was heard was pretty successful.
I think it did pretty well, yeah. In the near future, I'll just say, I would love to root myself more as kind of an event-based musician.
That kind of touches on something that I've been thinking a lot about. Like, when I first moved here,
yeah,
I was very, like, I knew exactly the 3 things that I wanted to do, because my logic is, no matter how good you are at guitar, saxophone, singing, whatever, you're probably not going to make it on just one thing. Right?
Oh, sure.
Right?
Yeah.
You don't necessarily have to have a day job to be a musician,
Sure.
not necessarily.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you can't just be this kind of musician, or that, you know.
Yeah.
So for me, it was teaching composition, performance, and so delving into those has been has been great. So it sounds like for you, and you also do graphic design
GD.
and stuff like that, right?
That's right. Yeah.
So you got your GD.
Thank you.
You got your musicianship, but you also got a little bit of event planning that you're trying to get into. This is definitely a really good piece for people to take away from this.
Oh,
if they're trying to go into really any artistic scene, I think they need to at least be capable of spreading out a little bit.
I think so.
And not just be like, I'm only gonna sing, and I'm only gonna sing this genre at this place, and I want this. You know, you have to be very open.
And if you are going to do that, if you're going to burrow into one niche, like, be prepared for 10 people in the world to care about it for many, many years until you get so badass that people just can't ignore you.
Yeah. So we just got really one more thing.
Okay.
I have. Yeah. You know this because we've talked.
Do you have a Dyson? With
this series, I'm going to be doing a little cover of each of the artists that I interview.
You did not.
It's not a surprise. He knows this.
You.
Okay. So,
7.
Here it is. So,
Okay.
what'd you think?
Very cool.
What was your favorite part? Do
Um,
you have a favorite part?
I don't know.
Or is it all just really f***ed up jazz?
All pretty bad, yeah.
I can't look sad enough. Because I know that in actuality, he really did hate it.
I really loved it. That was very cool. This might sound weird, but it reminds me of like some jazzy a cappella arrangements that I would see like the Whiffenpoofs or the Yellow Jackets or something do, where they'll go down this freaking rabbit hole of chords, and it's like, what's happening? Like, I know, I'm like, yes, this makes sense going to that, and that makes sense going to that, but how the are we gonna end up back here? And then eventually you have like one weird one that doesn't quite make sense to me, but then you get to a place. But yeah, that was that's cool.
If you haven't checked out Foothills by Spence Hood already, there's a link in the description.
Oh, yep.
There's a link in the description so you can compare and contrast.
Please.
You can see he has dancers in that video. That's pretty cool. You should check that out.
Yes.
And yeah, a little bit of animation and an actual full song. So go check it out.
What a concept. That was pretty slick, man. Yeah, I very, very much enjoyed that.
One more question.
Yeah.
How did we meet?
How did you and I meet?
Yeah, how did we meet?
We met that one day at the Guitar Center. Remember?
Yeah, that's right.
Jesse was like,
he's looking for
for a keyboard, and I was also looking for a keyboard. And he's like, I'm bringing my pal 7. Is that okay? And I was like, I'm pretty sure you just had a stroke because you just said a number. And he said, no, he's fine. You'll meet him. And then I met him, and I was like, this young doe.
Oh my god.
He was a nice boy. No. That was the first day you heard us rehearse for so far, right?
Yeah, that was really cool.
That was
cool. I was like, holy...
Oh, with
the combination. And I think that was like one of the first times Jesse was doing cajon.
Cajoni? Yeah.
And so that was cool to see him branching out.
Yeah.
And amazing to hear your songs for the first time like that in such a personal environment.
Yeah, that was really cool.
Yeah. Anyway, this is going to be the first of many.
This will.
Stay tuned. This has been Spence Hood.
It sure has.
And all the handles and all that kind of stuff will be in the description.
Yes.
And all that. So go check him out. And yeah. We'll see you in the next episode.
You bet.
What is this? Artist Spotlight? Seattle Artist Spotlight? Something like that? Seattle Artist Spotlight.
Seattle food, one dish at a time.
Hopefully your camera didn't die. We'll make a sound. We'll make a sound.
I don't think it will. I think it just died.
Well, we have that one, so. Alright, bye-bye.
See ya!